Sup, you chuckle fucks? It's your boy Dark Raku here with What If Issei was a descendant of the Moon Hashira. Now, when I mean the Moon Hashira, I mean Kokushibo. Or not, yeah. Kokushibo. If you don't know who Kokushibo is, he is none other than Yoriichi from Demon Slayer, like twin brother. You know, the son Hashira, but yeah. But that's not the point here. There also I dropped something. Oops. But not the point. So, of course, let me actually first do something real fast. So, let me begin into this what if and let me shut the fuck up. But yeah, other than that, let me begin. So, we begin into mostly two people dealing with mostly a stray devil. This stray devil is actually trying to attack them. They were only walking around mostly school campus. Yes, they are right now on school campus because they were actually kind of trying to catch who exactly is taking their kind of like panties from mostly their club. But this is where, they found out after a while that being a stray devil who's actually been taking panties. Now, of course, they know about the supernatural a bit because of their kind of mostly family. They weren't thinking it was a stray devil. They were actually thinking it was actually one of the perverts, or mostly like they were just thinking it was one of the perverts. Because in their school, there is three infamous perverts. There is the one who's called the Glasses, the Scouter. The second one is called the Baldy Pervert, Paparazzi Molester, or something like that. And the last one is a boy with brownish hair who is actually called the Opie Lover, mostly pervert idiot, something like that. This is where, they really didn't care too much, but of course they will try to find them and catch and beat the shit out of them. But they weren't expecting a devil to actually try to kill them, a stray one. This is where, mostly they know about the mostly the four Oni-sans for the school. They are actually devils, but they realize they are nowhere to be found right now. But before they can even do anything, the stray devil was actually rushing to them and trying to claw at them. Before that even happened, something actually slashed mostly this guy's arm off. The devil was right now screaming in pain because he wasn't expecting that the two humans in front of him was able to slash its arm off. This is where, for some reason it felt fear. It wasn't fear towards the girls, which he was confused. But this is where the devil then looks up, or mostly behind him. And of course, this is where, what he sees is a guy with kind of longish brown hair, which mostly is kind of short. But it seems to be like glowing in the dark to be black in a tint of blue. It's kind of wrapped up in a little bit like mostly into a ponytail kind of. This is where, he has this kind of weird mark in his face. Mostly a little mark that's actually on his like forehead. But of course, it seems like a moon mark, not a sun mark. It actually looks like some kind of moon mark. This is where, his eyes were actually glowing kind of yellow, like actual yellow. This is where, like a kind of yellow with a number that actually says 1. This is where, it actually changed back to normal kind of goldenish brown. But this is where, he looks at the person, which I should also mention this person is actually wearing like some kind of kimono, battle kimono, like old, mostly, how should I say, samurais used to wear and other things. Not armor, but they wear like kimono, something like this. So something like this. He does have a moon pattern, blue kind of clothing, yeah. And this is where, he has his sword. Right now the color of a dark kind of blue with a silver kind of tint to it. This is where, he looks at, mostly the devil, who's right now was about to hurt, the brownish hair girl, who's a human. This is where, mostly the brownish hair girl turns around and sees none other than the perverted trio. The leader of mostly the perverted trio, that being Issei Hyodo. This is where, she widened her eyes, never expecting Issei Hyodo. The devil jumps away from the humans and supposed human male, who is, quite deadly. He has an aura of that being of a devil, but at the same time, not entirely a devil. This is where, mostly the person says, "What are you? Wait, I know your outfit. You're like a Hashira. Or no, Hashira, a demon slayer, aren't you?" This is where, mostly the brown-haired boy decides to ignore the two girls and keeps walking forward straight towards the devil. The supposed straight devil. The straight devil says, "Don't ignore me! You, human, you're nothing to me!" This is where, mostly when the supposed devil was actually rushing towards him, the mostly not supposed devil, the straight devil, this is where, he was going to just try to claw at Issei with his other arm. This is where, well, for some reason, his other arm that kind of was cut off cannot be healed back, even if he uses the tentacles, because it does kind of grow tentacles, but it doesn't want to work. This is where he realized that that sword is deadly. It's not a holy sword. He kind of knows what a demon slayer entirely is, but they have not been existent or active right now in this daily modern world. This is where, well, seeing one right in front of him and one who actually has the moon cloak can actually make him remember a story when one of his his previous master told him about. If you fight against these Hashiras, or mostly they're called Hashiras, at least mostly users of the breathing technique. Of human techniques, this work well. Mostly the human techniques are like breathing styles and other stuff. If you ever fight them, it's better to run away, even if you become whatever. This work well, high rank or not. This work well. Most of the devil didn't care and tried to attack Issei. Issei right now breathes out. Well, he breathes in and then breathes out. First form, moon dash. This is where, well, I don't remember all the moon style dashes and other things. I'm going to have to read upon that because I forgot all the different like moon styles, moon breathing styles. And this is where, well, just the first one, I'm just going to call it moon dash, which literally makes him disappear from mostly the devil and appear behind him. This is where he has the sword twirling around before unsheathing into his like mostly sheath. This is where, well, Issei said, now you shall disappear from existence, you pathetic creature. The devil right now gets its head cut off in an instant, and this is where it falls down to the ground before it literally turns to dust. And right now, Issei is walking away. This is where, well, Issei did not really care about talking to the girls, because, well, first of all, it's not really his job right now to kind of deal with them. So, of course, he's actually going to go look for more devils. But before going any further, mostly Moriyama grabs his mostly hand, or mostly the kind of like long sleeve of his hand, and says, "You're not going anywhere. Issei, I need to talk to you. Well, I want answers from you exactly. What exactly are you?" This is where, well, Issei looks at Moriyama and just shrugs her off by like moving his hand away from mostly Moriyama's kind of grasp, which made Moriyama question out if Issei is even caring about her. Which mostly, she would expect the perverted trio to actually kind of glance at her because her shirt did get kind of ripped, even her kind of like bra, and of course showing one bit of her opai, but it seems Issei didn't even seem to blink or care much. This is where, well, Issei walked away from mostly Moriyama. Moriyama says, "Issei!" Issei says, "Shut up already. You are like the other devils or something. I'm not trying to deal with them." This is where, well, Issei completely ignores Moriyama and decides to kind of walk home. But we go into mostly, or not walk home, walk into mostly dealing with other devils. This is where, well, he went to go mostly hunt and cut down other stray devils that are around mostly Kuo. And this is where, well, he stops cutting them down after mostly a while, after it's actually becoming daytime. And this is where, well, he realized that he kind of stayed up almost all night to actually cut down mostly a bunch of stray devils. Since a lot of stray devils have actually been coming over mostly Kuo over the past couple of months, he realized he needs to be, well, becoming stronger in his breathing techniques, more reforming them and other stuff. This is where, well, I should mention one thing. His moon techniques are actually able to be seen by others and even him, because in this one, I'm going to say that those visual kind of effects are fucking real. Now, I know in Demon Slayer they are not real. Mostly, that's what the creator said. But I refuse to bullshit believe them. You know what? No, I don't believe them. I know it's supposed to be like, mostly the storyline is supposed to be based on mostly Zenitsu's kind of like memories of fighting a demon lord, of mostly like becoming samurais, demon slayers, and other things. But I don't care. I'm saying those goddamn visuals are fucking real. But yeah, also, did I think I spoiled it too far? Because I know that some people watch the anime and not the, well, read the manga. Who cares? I don't give a damn if you people get angry at me for spoiling and what exactly it is. I don't care. Let me just begin back into what if. So we go into mostly Issei kind of getting home. This is where, well, the sun doesn't actually hurt him. It kind of annoys him, it kind of does weaken him, but not burns him. Not like a normal demon. Since he is a descendant from Kokushibo, at the same time he is, and technically he's not, but mostly who really cares. This is where, well, he kind of gets home, kind of decides to mostly get into his house. His parents are still asleep. Yes, his parents in this will be alive, but I won't mention why. Or mostly they are alive in this one. Not going to kill them off anytime soon, but not the point. But this is where, well, mostly Issei kind of gets into his room and just right now kind of like puts his sword away, his mostly battle kimono away. This is where he takes off the kind of like, what's it called, the band that's actually on his hair to kind of like make sure that his hair will be well tied up. This is where he takes it off. He decides to kind of also just like wash out his hair, wash himself off, and of course he could go to sleep, but pretty much he's not really too much of a person to sleep. If he wants to sleep, he usually sleeps in school. But yeah, not the point. This is where, well, Issei right now goes downstairs after mostly hearing his mom kind of calling him out after a while, because it took him a while to shower and other things and get ready for school. But yeah, this is where, well, his mother says, Issei, so how was your sleep last night? Issei says, fine, mother. This is where, well, he seems to kind of have his eyes closed for a second. This is where he's just blinking them. This is where, well, his mother says, oh, okay. This is where, well, she went to kind of look towards cooking more food and other things. This is where, well, she gave mostly like eggs, bacon, and mostly tortilla on his plate, okay? This is where, well, he was eating. Of course, his father says, so, you didn't do anything last night? Not like go talk to a girl, or go make out with her, or any of it? This is where, well, Issei looks up and says, Dad, can we not talk about this? I am right now a little bit still tired from mostly last night. So you were doing something? No, I wasn't. Issei lies towards mostly his father, because his father does not know anything about the Demon Slayer Court at all, or even the fact that he's a descendant of Kokushibo, or the fact that he's also supposedly the new Moon Hashira. And yes, the Demon Slayer Court in this one would kind of be a thing, but not much. This is where, well, mostly the only person that knows about Issei's kind of moon techniques and breathing and other things is his grandfather. His mother technically knows a little bit, but his grandfather's mostly the one who's actually running the kind of like Hashiras and other things. But yeah, this is where, well, mostly he just waits until his father kind of like leaves after a while, because his father had to be like, oh, it's time for me to go. See you later, Issei. And this is where he kisses his wife and says, see you later, Mika. Mika says, okay, bye, Goro. This is where, well, Goro just mostly goes towards his car and drive and just go. But yeah, this is where, well, mostly Mika decides to sit down right in front of Issei, and Issei was eating, and this is where Mika says, so, how many demons did you kill last night? Issei looks up and says, only one. Why? Is that really the case? Or did you kill more, and that's why you didn't get any sleep last night? This is where, well, mostly Issei looks at his mother and sighs and says, Mother, why do you even care about the fact that I should get any sleep? That's where Mika says, I'm worried about you. I know that you and your grandfather can take care of all the demons, stray devils or whatever. But I'm extremely worried about you. You're still only 17 years old, Issei. I know that in the old time when either the rise of the golden area or even the rise of mostly Muzan's kill, or yeah, the Muzan's death, I know that a lot of demon slayers were basically either 13, 15 or whatever. And I know in some of them cases they didn't live that long. But I'm worried for you, Issei. I know that you're technically a strong demon slayer. At the same time, you do have your demon mark. But of course, with that demon mark being the original Moon Hashira, you might die later, but I know that you also awaken his demonic blood with you. This is where, well, Issei looks up at his mother and just sighs and says, Mother, I'll be fine. Besides, you do realize that I have two different types of breathing. I have grandfathers and I also have great-great-grandfathers kind of moon breathing. Well, mostly I have grandfather's darkness breathing and I have mostly his moon breathing. This is where, well, mostly Mika sighs and says, I'm just worried about you, okay? Just don't push yourself. And besides, how is Luna going to feel about mostly you dying? Issei looks at his mother and kind of hesitates to blush. It was kind of bluish, his blush, and this is where, well, he then says, Mother, stop talking about this. His mother teases and says, oh, come on. I can't talk about my daughter-in-law kind of little, well, husband dying off. This is where, well, Mom, and mostly Issei says, Mom, stop. Just, this is where they hear a ring at the door, and this is where, well, mostly Issei says, I'll go get it. This is where, well, Issei gets up. Right now, Mika kind of giggling, but yeah. We go into the person Well, mostly the door being open to show a beautiful female with mostly kind of palish skin. She looks like this. Wait. So mostly she kind of looked like this, but with the kind of yellowish and white armor kind of being black. Her skin was kind of like palish also. Her eyes was mostly a bluish color, and her wings were black, and also had a black halo, but yeah. This is where, well, mostly she was kind of just saying, hey there, Issei. This is where her name is Luna Midnight Star, but yeah, not the point. But this is where, well, she was kind of happy to see Issei. Issei said, oh, Luna. This is where, well, mostly Issei kind of had a tint of blush, while mostly Mika came out of nowhere behind mostly Issei and said, oh, hey there, one of my fairy daughter-in-laws. How you doing? This is where Issei blushes and says, Mom. This is where Luna's face becomes almost entirely blue and say, This is where, well, mostly Issei, we gotta go. This is where, well, mostly Issei kind of closes the door behind him and say, what are you doing here, Luna? Luna says, I'm just worried about you. I heard what happened last night. You dealt with some stray devils. Let me see your arm at least. This is where, well, mostly Issei says, sure. She right now touches his arm to see if she's at, well, mostly, well, if she can find any scars or hurting of Issei's muscle or any of that. And this is where she sighs and thank goodness. This is where she says, thank goodness you're okay. Don't do something stupid like that. If you're going to do something stupid like that, at least let me be with you, okay? This is where Issei's face becomes red, and this is where, well, or mostly a tint of blue. This is where, well, mostly she didn't realize what she just said and blushes also. This is where, well, mostly Issei says, it's fine, Luna. Besides, I'm a, what's it called, Moon Hashira. I'll be fine. This is where she pouts and says, no, you won't. Besides, as a fallen angel myself, I have to protect you. Wouldn't the angel be... Shut up already. This is where she really cuts off Issei, and this is where Issei kind of just sighs, chuckling and laughing about mostly what Luna says. This is where, well, mostly Luna says, don't laugh at me. Meanie? This is where, well, she pouts very angrily and cutely, and this is where, well, mostly Issei chuckles and says, sorry, but she just pouts so cutely half the time. Luna blushes and says, let's just get to school, okay? This is where, well, we go into a time skip of the school. We go into mostly Issei and right now, mostly Luna getting towards, well, mostly school. And this is where both of them talks. I should mention that Issei and Luna do have like moon necklaces, matching kind of moon necklaces. Or mostly Issei's a little bit like a darker kind of like shade of like blue with silver tint. While mostly Luna's actually like a white kind of color. Of course, also having a tint of like purple in it, but not the point. This is where, well, they are both talking, and of course, when they get to school, mostly Issei sighs because mostly Luna doesn't actually go to the school. Mostly he's the only one going to it. But this is where, well, Luna says, don't worry about it. I would try to enroll myself. No, it'd be fine. Besides, the devil was to try to target you. I don't care about the devils. They can target me all they want. I won't let you become a fucking servant to them. Huh. Like if they can never try. You do realize this is where his eyes right now became kind of yellowish, and of course mostly his underneath his white mostly became different, but not the point. This is where a number actually appears in his eyes, or mostly Chinese number, but it says 1. This is where Issei says they can try, but I'll murder them in an instant. This is where Issei said with such a vicious grin, while mostly Luna sighs, but before kind of going, she decides to grab Issei's kind of like collar and pull him into mostly a kiss. That is just for you don't actually get in trouble, okay? Don't get hurt, don't be stupid, and don't you dare find any more girls. You already have enough. This is where, well, mostly Luna said. Issei right now has a tint of blush and says, yeah, I know. This is where, well, mostly Luna says, I'll be leaving then. This is where, well, Luna just walks away, but just teleports back to the school that she actually goes to, but yeah. Issei's face is almost all entirely blue until 2 people right now says, hey, Issei. This is where Issei right now almost jump out of his freaking skin. If that was impossible, or if that was possible, he would have done it. But this is where, well, he looks behind him and glares at 2 of his friends. His eyes almost went into a reddish color just because of how pissed he was. This is where, well, Issei says, what the fuck do you 2 want? This is where, well, both of them says, hey, man, there's no need to be hostile. We're just wondering what you're doing. This is where Issei says, nothing. We should definitely get into school. This is where, well, they kind of walk into mostly school through the gates. And of course, Issei noticed Sona. And of course, this is where, well, he doesn't know if Sona saw mostly Luna or not. But it's better not to, because that would be less troublesome. But yeah, this is where, well, we go into mostly Issei getting to class. And there's 2 people literally glaring into his fucking soul. And that is Moriyama and Catherine, because they were there last night when he kills the stray devil. He literally killed it without even being phased by mostly the stray devil's argument and other things. But yeah, and turning it into dust. Because if a demon slayer managed to kill a mostly devil, they actually turn to dust after a while, because thanks to the sword's ability. But yeah, because what the sword is actually made out of. But this is what, well, mostly Issei said, oh great, they're pissed. They're going to wonder in what I am, or what the hell did I do? It's better just to ignore them. This is where, well, Issei was just planning to ignore them the whole day. But we go into mostly a time skip later on. This is where, well, after class was over, this is where Issei was actually getting to his next class, until this where, well, he was grabbed from his, like, back of his collar and thrown into the closet by both Moriyama and Catherine. Issei said, this is so fucking odd. This is where, well, Issei looks at them and kind of question and why they even tried to do this. Moriyama says, this is where she has one of her kendo swords, and this is where she pointed at Issei and says, tell us, what the hell were you doing last night? What was all that? And this is where Issei grabs a sword, and this is where he just snaps it. Issei says, sorry, there, princess, but I'm not gonna tell you anything. This is where he throws the mostly piece of katana straight into Moriyama. Moriyama has to dodge. She would have swung her mostly it was Captain who was going to swing her kendo sword, but it was literally cut smoothly. This is where, well, mostly Issei had a little knife that was glowing with this kind of silverish color. This is where, well, he did use moon breathing style just to swing a, well, small kind of moon crest at, well, mostly Catherine. Catherine was confused, but the side of her hair was actually a little bit cut. This is where she said, This is where, well, Issei says, don't even try to fight me. You too. If you try to fight me, then I'm gonna kill both of you. This is where, well, both of them were kind of just surprised on how Issei's tone just changed completely. He wasn't too serious a while ago, but this is now he's serious as hell. His eyes are kind of glowing into being a kind of like mostly reddish color. But yeah. This is where, well, mostly both Moriyama and Catherine look at each other and just look surprised. They weren't expecting Issei to be quite a little bit violent. This is where, well, before they can even understand and what exactly is going to happen, this is where, well, the, what's it called, knife was thrown at them, but before they can even block or even catch it, this is where Issei right now pulls it with a little kind of chain that was on it. Grabbing it back, and this is where Issei says, either you let me go or I'll kill you both. This is where Issei was very serious, dead ass serious, making both Moriyama and Catherine shiver at mostly Issei's tone. He's more colder than ever. This is where, well, his hair is actually covering up his eyes. This is where, well, you can barely see them, but of course are red, glowing red. This is where, well, both of them just nodded, and of course they open the door. And this is where, when they open the door, the janitor was there and says, what are you three doing? He was knocked down in an instant, thanks to Issei moving really fast. And basically, light speed. This is where he knocks him out and says, it's better not to explain to you anything. It'd be stupid in this case. This is where, well, Issei said, okay, I'm leaving, bye. This is where Issei starts walking away. But for right now, I gotta go, and yeah, bye, see you, and yeah, gotta be going, bye.